Hi, my name is Nazia Khan. Welcome to the Transformation Lab DXB podcast, powered by Gym Nation. Get ready for an exciting deep dive into the stories of our incredible guests as they share how they transform their lives by turning their toughest setbacks into epic comebacks. This is where inspiration meets action. Today, we're joined by Deema, and she's spent the last 30 years in PR and comms, an industry that I'm really familiar with because I also spent a big chunk of my career doing the rounds across small size, in-house, medium size, above the line, below the line, through the line, everything, all the terms that the advertising network comes with. She's lived in Kuwait, Germany, UAE, Dubai, for the longest period, I believe, 20 years, Egypt, and currently living in the UK. And I've got an interesting story of how we met. It was actually online. So it seems surreal to have Deema in front of me today, actually in real life. Currently head of learning and development for a big agency network, advertising agency network. And the career highlights are launching the beautiful JW Marriott here in Dubai, the world's tallest hotel at the time. Right. Okay. I'm sure there's more now, right? And this is the part that I love. In the last 6 years, Deema's focused on learning and development, and it gives me goosebumps when things really mean something to me, because I think it's a space as a coach, as a transformation coach, it's such a great space to be in, and we'll delve deep into that because when you're driving learning development for companies, for employees, you feel really good about the results that you're driving.
It's an incredibly rewarding role.
Yes, exactly. So let's get into it, Deema. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Nazia. What a privilege. This is really exciting. And I'm really, really happy not just to be here, but also to finally meet you in person, given that we've done so much before even the transformation when we first met.
Yeah. So just to explain to the listeners, so Deema and I met when we were working for a WPP agency network. So I was working in one division, and I assumed that you were in Dubai then, were you?
Well, I was doing a project in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi,
so
that's right.
They had loaned me out of the UK. Yeah.
So we spoke on a couple of Teams calls.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to present something. And then I left quite soon after that. And then a few months later, we connected on social media. I think Deema came through my profile. I'll let her explain how we continued the conversation beyond the agency, beyond my exit. And now Deema has been a client of mine since August. So she's in my Drop 1 Kilo a Week program, Mind, Body and Health Transformation. So tell me, Deema, how you explain the journey that you've been on. I guess we've known each other for, 3 years now, I guess.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, thank you. I guess my journey of transformation started a couple of years ago because I was very conscious of the fact that I was turning 50. And I wanted, it's a big milestone year, and I wanted to make sure that I was entering that decade in a better, as a better version of myself, both mind, body, health, and all of it. So I started, it was a long process because I realized you can't do everything all at once, and you have to do it in stages so that you are able to achieve all of your goals by the time that you want to achieve them. And, I was already working with a dietitian to figure out my gut health, which took a very, very long time, about a year. And having done that, then I thought, right, well, that part's done. Now let's focus on the mind and body. And I think that's when you and I first, I think that's when I came across your profile, and I thought, oh, I know her. What is she doing now? And I was just really intrigued by how your program was so focused on professional women, high flyers, those who never have any time to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, when we started talking. But I remember at the beginning, I wasn't ready for you.
I know you. Nobody's ever ready for me, by the way, just for the record. I've heard it. Out of all of my clients, and the community is big now, over 400 clients in my one-to-one coaching program,
Yeah.
over 1,000 subscribers on the app. They like to do it themselves, the app team. Honestly speaking, Deema, just on this point, I would say only 2 to 3% of clients have said, do you know what? I'm ready. Sign me up now. On the call, on the first call. Transformation is big. And also I think that people think they have time or they're not quite ready. And, weight loss is an emotional decision.
Yeah. And I felt like I wasn't ready for you because I knew you from a professional perspective. And you were driven, you were dedicated, you were passionate about what you were doing. And I thought, if I don't meet you at least at that willpower level, then this isn't going to work. So I thought, now I know, and I will come back when I can. And I was so appreciative of the fact that you let me do that.
I don't push people. They have to be ready. Yeah.
And it was really, really important for me. And I was doing my own thing. I was working on, actually slowing down a bit because I thought we're just it's just too much going on all at once. And at a certain point, you have to ease into your day and ease into your life rather than, the whole concept of rolling out of bed and out the door.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
So leading more with intention.
Yes, intention. I know that people say, like, what's your morning routine? For me, routine is a bit of a funny word. I think intention is really, really on like that is the word that we need to use, because you need to lead with intention. And with that, you are ready and you are accountable and you can commit to whatever it is you're going to go forward with.
Because obviously intention means you have to think about what you're doing. The foods that we eat, how we move our body, how is our mind connected to that? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? And to become intentional, it's a process.
Exactly. And to become intentional, you need to know exactly what you want.
Exactly.
And it forces you in a way to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that it's not just a reactive, life just happens to you rather than you go after what you want.
So there's two ways of looking at life, and I've been in both boxes. Now being in the intentional box and proactively driving every aspect of my life. Before I call it sleepwalking or floating. I was reacting to everything that was happening. I wasn't taking charge. I wasn't driving anything with intention, even in my WPP days. And I allowed for things to get on top of me and for my nutrition to spiral out of control because I wasn't thinking. I wasn't connecting the dots. It's when I started to connect the dots then and I started to lose weight and my coach really kicked my ass like big time. And I think that the intention came from him instilling that thought process in me and becoming uncomfortable with transformation, as in it's not going to be easy. But he drove it one step at a time. And I think I would like to understand from you, because I saw the spreadsheet that you were using to manage your food and with the dietitian, and there were issues with gut health and you were a little bit confused and frustrated, but you were adamant on following it through before joining my program.
Yeah.
What that process with the dietitian, how was that?
Well, I think there's a misunderstanding of what dietitians are, because I didn't start working with my dietitian because I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to fix my eating and my gut health.
Yeah.
And it was a long process, because if anyone needs to go back into their body to figure out what foods work for them, what foods don't, why they don't, how their body reacts, it's a long process because the way that you have to reintroduce foods into your diet is quite a lengthy one.
Yeah.
And I remember you and I spoke and I said, I need to see it through because I need to finish and figure out what I can and can't do. And then I'll be able to with intention, then move forward. And it was hard for me because it was so pedantic, and I had to write everything down, and I had to,
I sensed the frustration
it was
in
really
your voice
hard.
when we did the consultation.
Yeah, it was really, really hard.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm now focused on this. Let me finish it. And I did. And I'm so thankful that I went through that, because anything that came after that point, I was happy with how I was managing it.
Yeah.
And so rather than thinking, oh, I can never have dairy, or I can never have, bread or gluten, it was, well, I can, but this is how I can do it.
Right. Okay.
And that was really important for me.
And the dietitian clarified that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think nutrition is an interesting one. We are raised with, we all think about food differently. Like in my family, my mom would make breakfast, and then she would be discussing what's for lunch and what's for dinner. And she was really big on portion control. She wouldn't let us overeat. And I'm one of 10 siblings. I think there's only a couple of my siblings that are overweight. But everyone's weight's in check. And I think it's something I never obsessed about food, but I never also thought about, is this good for me? Because you don't from a childhood. And my mom she didn't have the knowledge to equip us. Right, okay, proteins, good carbs, bad carbs, good fat. That information wasn't available to us. And I think when we are growing up and we're being raised in different cultures, different environments, we don't have that knowledge, how to drive our nutrition. So we're raised with whatever,
Yeah.
And I picked up some good habits. And then also I learned nutrition from the point of view, is this going to drive energy? Good energy? Am I going to feel good after eating these foods? And when my journey started 2.5 years ago, when I lost weight, I started to connect with food in a different way than I had ever connected with before. And if I would ever choose something, I don't know, sugary or bad, or a fried food, I would feel really bad afterwards, mentally. And I never connected that what we eat impacts how we feel before that.
Yeah, it's a direct correlation. And when that happens, then you also risk going into a mind overdrive because of the guilt that then comes with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you think, oh, I should have known this, or why didn't I know this? But then how?
I remember then one of the biggest, I remember when you and I first started in August, when I came onto your program, and I remember I was going on holiday a couple of weeks into, in the middle of August, and I said, oh, I'll do this. I'll start when I get back. And you were like, no, we start now. And I thought, Nazia, I'm going to go on holiday. And you were like, no, start now, get into this. And then it's okay if you have a break and then come back. And for me, that was such an important revelation that you can bring it into your life. So it's not like you pause your life to do this, because it's not a diet. It's transforming
it's a
your
lifestyle.
life. Exactly.
Yeah. I want to pick up on this, and this is a really important point you've touched on, Deema, is that when women are looking to lose weight, they're never ready. Oh, it's my son's birthday, or I have to go on a holiday, or there's this event. The thing is, we can start eating with intention any time, any day of the year. You don't have to be ready for weight loss. Because my program, and I will let you explain this part, the biggest part of the program is where clients truly transform, is when they understand what they're eating, why they're eating the food that's on their nutrition plan, and it's all customized to individually. What suits you wouldn't suit another client. What's your flavors wouldn't be, palatable for to another client. So there's two things I find, and to simplify things, is we can lose weight today if we knew these two things: controlling the portions, how much food is on our plate, regular meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. None of this, I'll starve myself and then I will have a bottle of wine in the evening. No, because you're damaging, that's self-sabotage. And also how the food is prepped, how much oil is used, and how much, what part dressings play. If they're heavy, if they're lean, that for me is so simple. It really is those things. But I want you to explain, because you've been on my program and you've transformed. Let's explain to listeners, where were you in terms of your weight, and where are you now, and what has been the biggest learning for you?
So after I spent a year figuring out my gut health, I gained quite a lot of weight, and I was happy that I figured out the health part, but I wasn't happy with how I looked, and it was impacting everything. It was impacting the way that I felt. It was impacting what I wore, obviously. It's huge, the way that what you see in the mirror versus what you think you look like. And I remember thinking, well, if this is a 12-week program and I can drop 10 kilos and I can go back to, what I feel is my happy weight, which is around 62, 61 kilograms.
Yeah, which is where you're at now, right? Give or take a kilo?
I'm at 63 and a bit.
Okay.
So, but I've been in Dubai for a week. So
yeah, so there's a little bit of indulgence going on.
A little bit. But I was thinking, if this is something that I can do, then that, we started in the beginning of August, and it would set me up for my 50. And that was really, really important for me. And
I love goals.
You are very goal oriented. And I thought, okay, then I have to do this, right? And then I thought, okay, if this is something that I can build into my life so that my life becomes how I'm intentional not just about what I eat and how I prepare it, but also about how much I move.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of our corporate jobs are sitting in front of a laptop. It's not
sedentary.
Necessarily very, and it's not necessarily that, unless you have an idea that you want to get up and start walking or climbing stairs or, taking the dog out, it doesn't happen unless you intentionally make it happen. And that was a big thing for me. So following your program, I couldn't believe that I was dropping the weight.
So but when I said this is drop 1 kilo a week program.
Yeah, I thought, nah, she's joking. There's no way.
It's interesting you say that. And the reason I asked is nobody believes it, because they think, what? How? No. And also people think that they know everything and they've tried everything. And this is true. Clients have tried a lot of things before they joined my program. But, that's what you're in for. You're in for results.
And I thought, okay, well, let's see, because I had never tried anything that changes your lifestyle in this way.
Okay.
And for me, it was not just that you do it for 3 months and then that's it. I thought, well, if this is a change of lifestyle, then how is this going to work long term?
Yeah.
So when I joined, and you are a coach that is incredibly supportive when you need to be, and you also are quite, straightforward and direct when you need to be.
Kick your ass when you need it, in other words.
Yeah, and
because the reason for that is I lost a kilo a week, and I know what it took. I didn't kill myself. I didn't starve myself. I did sometimes spend hours in the gym, but it's because I wanted to, not because I needed to. Because I like training, and I hated cardio, and in my head, I had to prove to myself that I learned to like something that I hated. So it was more of a challenge, and I have a challenge mindset. It's a challenge, let's do it. But I'm very results driven, and believe it or not, I've offboarded about 10 clients off my program within the last 12 months because they refuse to become accountable. I can't drive a kilo a week, and they give my program a bad name. And I do like that badge of honor. Nazia drives 1 kilo a week. Yeah. And I say it like it is. And I when I say I'm going to drive a kilo a week, I mean it. Yeah. With conviction.
Exactly. And I you and I we were on the 12-week 1 kilo week program. And then we hit a bit of a
plateau, which everyone does. Yeah.
And you and I worked together to figure out what was going on because it just wasn't shifting.
Yeah.
And for me, that ended up being that my gut wasn't happy with other things that were driving it. And I was on the program, following it to the T, doing all of my movement and doing my portions and all of my prep. But then there are certain things that you have to allow for, which is how your body metabolizes, how your bowels move.
Hormones, stress. Yeah, all of those
that.
things. Yeah.
And
sleep.
Yes. And that, and I'm glad that we managed to work together to figure out, well, how do we
overcome this?
get back on
reset.
track. So even though I didn't necessarily lose 1 a week, but I lost 9 in total over those 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant for me because that automatically meant that I was already dropped 1 or 2 sizes.
Yeah.
And I could get into the clothes that I hadn't been able to wear.
You dropped 2 dress sizes by your birthday, right?
Sizes.
And I love that because I guarantee drop dress size every month.
Yeah.
Now, in the 12 weeks, most people lose 10 kilos, which is just under a kilo a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason for that is the body sometimes plateaus, like you said, gut issues, stress issues, being off plan. So I allow for that. But I mean, 9 kilos, it's amazing. I'll never forget when you said, Nazia, I've just got into trousers. Are you wearing them today? Is it the pink trousers or was it some? I remember you showing me, I've got into these trousers that are brand new. And when I bought them, I haven't been able to get into them.
Yes.
And I want to wear,
I'm wearing them today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I managed to, the time that I told you, I thought, oh my God, this is something I can pull up the zipper.
Yeah.
And today I could do the buttons as well, which is
amazing.
Which is great.
How did you feel on your 50th after losing 9 kilos, almost 10? I mean, did you believe it then that the program was working?
Yeah, I was so happy with how it was working because
it just fitted into your lifestyle, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It changed the way that I did things. It changed the way that I managed my life. And again, we go back to intention. And that for me was the biggest transformation because I always believe that, the body will do whatever the mind tells it to.
Yeah.
And if you can get into a positive mindset, and it's not easy for everybody.
No.
And you have to work really, really hard to get yourself into that mindset. But that is really where the transformation starts.
And also understanding that nutrition plays 80% of the role in driving fat loss, weight loss. And nutrition isn't about you're eating the same things or salads or only chicken. It's eating lean protein and good fats and good carbs, complex carbs. And I think once you understand those macros and it doesn't overwhelm you, then you literally can cook the food how you like, flavor it how you like. It's just about portion control and how it's prepped.
Yeah.
So you're not giving up anything that you love.
No, and that was really important because I remember we used to have our check-ins and you would say, what do you want me to bring in?
Yeah, new foods or anything you're missing.
And I remember the day I said, I want some cheese.
Yeah.
I want some cheese in my diet. So that was quite nice.
Yeah. So the reason I claim that the program fits into your life, you don't have to give up the foods that you love. It's not going to take over anything. It's not going to be restrictive. It's because I don't believe in restriction. I think restriction causes rebound, self-sabotage. We want the thing. What our mind is saying, I want cheese. If I say you can't have cheese, your mind will continue to want cheese. So that's nutrition. Now, to our listeners, and I'm sure Deema will agree to this, obviously desk job, sedentary lifestyle, she wasn't really up for moving, So I ask this of everyone who are, and it's interesting how she feels about movement now and the stage we've got to, and everyone goes through this. Clients will say on the consultations before they become my clients, oh, I don't like the gym. No, I don't want to bulk up. No, I don't want to lift weights. But what they're really saying is I'm intimidated by the gym. I'm scared. I think people are judging me. I feel fat. I think everyone's looking at me. That's what they're really saying. I've understood this now, having worked with a big community. And then my program is, okay, if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. I'm not going to make you go to the gym. How about walking? Can you walk? Do you walk every day? Do you have legs? Can you walk? And when they say, yeah, I can walk, and I actually like walking, then I'm like, okay.
That's where we start.
And so I'll let you explain. We started with daily steps. I couldn't get Deema to clock in 10K steps. It was a little bit of a challenge at first, but what was really amazing, and I see this with other clients too, is that you start walking and then build up the resistance, and then you get to 10K, and eventually we get to a stage where, oh, you know what? I think I want to lift weights now. So anyway, what's your point of view on the training and how it's been for the last few months?
Yeah, you're right. I don't love the gym, but I do love. I love movement, and where I live in the UK there's nothing that is easily accessible. But when you said you can walk anywhere, and I thought, well, I can walk anywhere, so that's good. And I have a dog, which is helpful. And even though, I didn't manage to clock the steps, but then I found my rhythm, and that was really good for me. And I've been doing it for a few months. Then after
what was the benefit of doing the steps? I would like to understand the mental health benefits. What did that unlock for you? The movement?
A couple of things, actually. First of all, it unlocked the fact that you need the body to move for your bowels and your gut and your metabolism to move. Like if you are sitting down at a desk all day, where is anything going to go? There's nowhere for it to go. And that for me was a really big key because of the fact that I had gone through that whole gut health
issues.
Gut health issues. From a mental health perspective, obviously, if you can go out and be outside or indoors, wherever you can walk, it allows you time to think about whatever it is that you want to do. You want to listen to something, you want to contemplate something, you want to talk to someone.
It's your time, right?
Exactly. And I remember you and I think once had a call, or I think I recorded a video while I was walking. And I was like, this is when I'm going to give you my update. And I was happy because I could. And this is the thing about making the transformation accessible in that if you don't want to go to the gym or you don't have a gym near you, it doesn't stop you from making the movement happen. And that is a really important part.
We are inviting local companies to promote their brand in Gym Nation. If your target audience is the health-conscious, fitness-savvy consumer, and activation at Gym Nation could elevate your visibility and expand your reach in multiple locations in multiple territories, members like nothing better than a giveaway or a good sample sale. If you want to get involved, please get in touch with us today. Yeah, and I think, thank you for sharing that. A lot of women think losing weight is about spending hours in the gym. So in their head, they think, I don't like the gym. I don't want to lift weights. So no. But actually, it's about food. It's about portion control, prepping your food a certain way, and getting used to that as a new lifestyle. And tuning into, what's good for you, and then bring in movement on top. So start with steps, baby steps, one foot in front of the other, and let's go. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. And I remember, I think after the first few days of walking, you said you need to walk, like, you don't saunter, like properly walk.
Properly walk, get your heart racing. Yeah.
And I thought, this is how my legs are hurting me now.
No, because the reason I was pushing that, obviously nutrition is a big part, but I remember even now, I've got a very sharp memory, by the way. It doesn't matter how many clients I've got. I actually have intel on them that just sits in my head, not even on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's why I was like, she's going to know.
And I track everything. I have your smart scales connected to my app and your smart watches. I know how many steps you've clocked. We'll go through the check-in next. But I remember, to our listeners, Deema's telling me on our consultation, I said, stand up for me and tell me which body parts, you want to work on. Like, which ones really bother you? And she said, you know what, I want my thighs to be slimmer. And I'd like to get into some dresses or to be able to wear shorts. This is what she told me. So when she started walking and the thighs were becoming trimmer and we were losing almost a kilo a week, with the exception of gut issues here and there, how did you feel?
I loved it because I got.
Did that make you want to walk more?
I did. It did. It made me want to walk more. It didn't make me want to go to the gym, but it did make me want to walk more and be, move more.
Yeah.
Movement is really, really important. And the fact that, this was not something that I was doing on my own. It was being supported by my family and friends and so on. So it wasn't like I couldn't find any, if I couldn't find anyone to walk with, that's absolutely fine. I'm very happy to go on my own.
On your own.
And
or
that
with
was
the
a
dog.
big thing. Or with
the
my
dog.
Beautiful dog. And I was happy about the fact that in my head, yes, you go to the gym to get fit, but I just needed to get my body moving. And that was the big thing for me.
Yeah. And that walking is so powerful, and it's the simplest thing we can do. And I find if I can't get to the gym, and I have a gym in my home, in my building, but there are days where I don't want to lift weights. I'll just go for a walk, clear my head, get the steps in. And with walking, you can burn on average of 400 calories for every 10,000 steps if you walk properly, as Deema just explained, get your heart racing. And also, it's one of the fastest way to burn stomach fat, belly fat. You become really flat, and that's not through training or doing ab workouts. That's through walking. Okay, so we've got a handle on nutrition. We've got Deema walking now, actually enjoying it, and not avoiding movement. I remember when you told me, and I don't know why I'm always surprised at this, when people say to me, "Oh, I don't move. I have a desk job." It's like, okay, all right,
you can move.
You can move. Yeah, trust me, you can move. Now, one of the key things about the program, and I love this because out of a lot of clients, big community now, I would say 90% of them check in like it's no one's business. Like they will check in even at weekends when I don't expect them to. And me being me, because I have OCD and I don't like to see unread notifications on my phone, even though I work Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, I will go on the app and see, right, who's checked in. And Deema's definitely amongst the 90%. And she also tracks all her food, which I don't expect her to. Because one of the greatest things about you, Deema, and I've been the most impressed by as your coach, is that your discipline around nutrition has just been phenomenal. And it's so on the days you don't move, on the days I have to come in and kick your ass and say, why are the steps down? I do know that you're driving nutrition like a boss. And that is just, it's amazing. So when I go on the app, and I tick every client's check, they've checked their weight in, and it's all automated. It's all synchronized through this smartwatches and smart scales. And I see Deema's checked in on a Saturday and a Sunday. And I think, wow, when it comes to, gold clients, you're definitely gold when it comes to check-ins. Now, my program, the reason I'm so confident about driving 1 kilo a week is my daily check-ins. Because if we don't check in, if we are not accountable, if we are not tracking our stats, then we're going to fall off. We're going to fall off the wagon. We're not going to know what's caused it. Was it food? Was it lack of movement? Was it lack of sleep? So when we look at our stats, measure our stats, and almost become obsessive, and I don't mean this in an unhealthy way. I mean, 2.5 years down the line after I lost 10 kilos in 10 weeks, the first thing I religiously do, and I want to know what your morning routine is when it comes to this, is I will get up, go to the bathroom for a pee, and then second thing I will do is step on the scale. I'm a robot now. I'm on autopilot. I want to know where my muscle mass is and where my body fat is, not because I'm looking to lose weight or, my muscle mass can only go so far, and I've taken it to the maximum. And I want to know the stats.
Yeah,
What's your view on my daily check-ins?
Well, they keep me honest, and that's really important. And it was, like you, I now in the morning, the first thing I do is go to the bathroom and then step on the scales. And it doesn't actually, I remember you asked me.
Was that difficult at first?
No.
Yeah.
Because I never.
You just embraced it.
Yeah. I wasn't too bothered by what I was seeing because I knew that it was going to go down. I just needed to.
Oh, so you did believe it. You did believe me.
I did. I just didn't know that it would do it on a weekly basis, but it did. It did.
How does it feel to see the scale go down?
It's wonderful. It's really nice. And especially when you go down like a full number, right? You know, when you go down from like, let's say 70 to 69, and then you're all the way down to 69.1, and then you're in the 68s, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
You come out of the 70s. Yeah.
Come out of the 70s. No, it is quite a powerful thing. I know that.
How do you feel mentally? Obviously, seeing the scales go down in the right direction is great. Even I love it, even to this day. You know, I don't have weight to lose. How did that make you feel? Like, how did it unlock? Did it unlock confidence? I mean, you're a very confident woman anyway. But how did it make you feel? And your family, did they pick up on it? Your friends, your work colleagues, what's their view on your transformation?
Well, that was a big thing, because as soon as I think I had lost maybe 5 or 6 kilos, and I didn't really talk to people that what I was doing.
It became noticeable.
And that is what really gave me the next push in that, well, if people are noticing it, then I must be doing something. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting, back into the clothes that I, couldn't. And then after I hit 50, I thought, I don't want to stay at this level. I wanted to continue because I liked the way that my lifestyle now was. And then we go into, well, I think you and I had a conversation, and I said, I don't really feel like I want to keep plugging in the food now. Yeah. And it was such a validation for me when you said, well, I trust that you're doing it. Yeah. So I don't need to see it now.
Yeah. You're like, I'm doing it anyway.
I'm doing it anyways. I like to track it. But it worked for me. And I think then, now that you know that something works and you edit your lifestyle to manage it, then it's, well, what comes next?
And I get these updates from Deema, and sometimes they're in video form, audio form, and I love the videos. And I don't know where I was one Saturday, and I got an audio from you. And Nazia, I'm out, I'm shopping, and you know what? I've just treated myself to a butter croissant, because this is an indulgence moment. And the accountability, even on a Saturday morning, she's saying, by the way, I've had a croissant. And I'm not saying you can't have a croissant. I never say you can't, that's just not me. I'm not that kind of coach. I just know that the croissant is high in fat. It's good fat. Not necessarily, it's butter. So, and it's 500-600 calories. But you know what? Blowouts here and there is absolutely fine. Croissants, fast food, pizza, it doesn't matter. That's not the point of weight loss. To restrict yourself is for these indulgent foods to be the exception. And also, there's always a healthier version. I haven't found a healthier version for croissants yet.
No, me neither.
But like, for example, pizza, you could opt for a thin crust. You could opt for sourdough if you're gluten intolerant, which most of us are. And cheeses, there are high-fat cheeses and there are low-fat cheeses. I'm not a fan of low-fat, but what I mean is they're naturally lean, like Parmesan, like burrata, mozzarella, cottage cheese. So it's not about giving up what you love. It's finding a leaner version of it.
Yeah,
particularly in the fat loss phase.
I remember actually one of the first things that probably got me excited about your program way back when was, I think you did a post about, I had a burger and a glass of wine, and it's absolutely fine. Yeah. And I thought, well, if she can do it, then there is hope for the rest of us.
And you'll agree, obviously, I show all sides to me on Instagram because I'm not going to show, here's me measuring my food and I'm only eating this. But to be honest, I will eat burger. I love fries. My favorite carbohydrate is French fries. And luckily, potatoes are good carbohydrates. So I'll make them at home. Even occasionally, whenever you go out, I always order truffle and Parmesan fries. I can't leave them alone. God, I love them. And when I was on my weight loss journey, I said to my coach, I said, I'm not giving up French fries. And he was like, you can't have them every day, Naz. He calls me Naz. But every now and again, it's fine. I was like, all right. What's been the most difficult part of this program? I've never asked you this, but I would like to know.
Well, from the nutrition perspective, there wasn't really a very difficult part once I started, once I was on it. The difficult part is now when I said to you, I now need to start building my strength. And that part, to get that started, has been really challenging.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not about weight loss.
No,
this is about
it's not about weight loss.
Building muscle
Yeah.
and being strong enough. Because again, it comes from the mindset. I don't want to be someone who is a granny who can't get herself out of a chair, or who can't pick up a baby.
Yeah, for building strength.
And that is really important for me now, because this is the investment in the future of me. And I'm
imagining you as a granny now.
Well,
is that likely to happen anytime soon?
No, please no. But I think it's really important, again, to start. Like, if I start now, then I'll be okay in a few years.
Yeah.
And then it's all part of the lifestyle and the mindset and that whole investment in future you.
Yeah. So statistically, it's been, the research has shown that if you don't move, when you hit your 60s, you won't be able to climb stairs. You won't be able to go up the stairs. If you move for 20 minutes a day, you'll be able to climb the stairs easily without you running out of breath. If you move for half an hour a day, you won't need a wheelchair in your 70s. So movement and increasing our longevity and our quality of life as we age is crucial. Now, because I'm a results-driven coach, and I also let clients drive their transformations with my guidance, I never really push the weight training. I suggest it. And after seeing you lose 10 kilos, clients check in weekly with their pictures, body progress pictures, side, profile, front and back. And I like to see where the work is to be done. So I suggested to Deema, let's get home workouts built in. Let's get some dumbbells ordered from Amazon, and let's start doing some abs, because with weight loss, Deema didn't have much weight to lose, but there are some clients that have lost 20 or 30 kilos and the skin becomes looser. So, it's better to start introducing weights as quickly as possible, because, you want the skin to be tight, because with some weight loss, and it's not the case with you, and also the strength, I have to share this with our listeners. I hope you don't kill me for it. Deema told me the other day that she's never squatted before, and it was really painful.
I haven't squatted in a long time. It was horrible. I hate it.
She was like, Nazia, I don't know how far I'm supposed to go down. This is really hurting. So do you see what I mean? How important flexibility is? And we drive that through lifting weights. It's not about how heavy you lift. It's about lifting something, to increase strength, our flexibility, our mobility. And also there's something great about weightlifting, what it does to your mindset. Like walking did for you. Every time you lift, you feel like, oh, wow. You feel like a superwoman inside, superhero. Every time I leave and you've seen my Instagram, I'm always doing these dances at the end of my workouts. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
That's really cool.
And I do a little dance, and and I'm like, yeah, that was a good workout. I smashed it. There's something really great about weights. And I think this next phase of your program, you will start to learn to love the weights. I really think you will. I think you'll embrace it.
Yeah. That's the aim.
Yeah. The good thing about you is that you didn't, although you weren't against movement, actually. You said, yeah, walking I can do. You embraced that quite well. But the best thing about you is you've embraced the nutrition like a boss. And that's been really consistent.
Yeah.
So in your words, I asked this for all guests, what is transformation? You're in communications, you know this.
Yeah. I believe transformation is the ability to change something about yourself and feel like you've achieved that difficult objective. And I think that it's really important for people to be kind to themselves, because transformation is not a quick thing.
No.
It takes time and energy and intention, and it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to stay the course.
The consistency, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the accountability.
And the accountability. And do you think it helps with daily check-ins to keep you on track?
I think it depends on the person. For me, it was important because I needed to know that I was accountable to someone, that someone was checking in on me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some people don't need that, but I personally, I find that that is the thing that drives me, because I don't want to let you down as my coach.
So it's interesting you say that. We're going to pick up on that. So 90% of my clients check in daily, and these 90% of the clients are transforming daily. Their stats are going down. But the 10% that think daily check-ins are optional, they're the ones that fall behind. And you know what they'll say to me, and especially the 10 that I've offboarded, including one yesterday. She was in our WhatsApp group. But the reason I offboard clients is if they're not willing to be accountable, they cannot check in, and they continue to fall behind, then I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah. But I also feel that, you've built little communities on WhatsApp and so on. And I feel that that is really important, because a lot of us, probably most of your clients, you're not with them all the time.
No.
And some of them don't even live in the city that you live in.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to feel that there is connection and connectivity between all of these people. And there is now a rapport.
Yeah.
Not everyone updates all the time. But I think when you ask, what are your highs and lows, how you doing?
Yeah.
There is also the opportunity for unprompted sharing of things like, I did this, I got into this dress, I cooked this food, I'm going out here. And I think that's a really lovely bonus to being part of this program.
The community.
Yeah.
So let's touch on that. Obviously, there's lots of communities with it being an online business. And you know what? I've only met about 10 of my clients. So, because I can't be physically, everywhere. For me, it's about global impact. I want to transform many women as possible on weight loss by simplifying it for them. And for me, weight loss is easy. It's about balance. It's about portion control. It's how you prep the food. 80% is nutrition, 10% is movement, and 10% is accountability. And I found... we're going to finish off on accountability, then we're going to pick up on the community groups and why that's really important for keeping each other motivated. Not just me, but also the community comes together. The accountability is something everyone struggles with. I used to check in with my coach once a week. I used to think, he's going to hate me because I message him every day. I bugged the hell out of him. And he let me as well. He was like, Naz, if it was anyone else, I would ignore them. But just ask away. And I guess it was my learning phase. I was learning a lot from him. So I was very inquisitive. Why this food over this food? Why that? Why this? Why this? And I asked a lot of questions. Even people at the top of the chain, and I'm talking entrepreneurs, CEOs, they struggle with accountability. They are bossing it at work, but they say, you know what, Nazia, I just need somebody to keep me on track. I need somebody to say, do you know what? You're behind your stats, get ahead. And this is all it's going to take. Today, we're going to drive nutrition differently because you've been on a 2-day business trip and you put on a half a kilo. So we're going to reset today. So we need that. We need somebody behind our back saying, come on. Okay, you're behind. We're going to get ahead today. Okay, you've got date night tonight, so we're going to drive nutrition a little bit differently today. Skip the snacks, have a lean breakfast, normal lunch, and then enjoy your dinner date.
And that's the most important part, is that you can flex.
Yes.
So that you don't, rather than thinking, well, I had a piece of chocolate today, that's it, my life, it's over.
No.
It is, well, no, you just edit the rest of your day or the next day so that you can
you just tweak.
Rebalance yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Some days, I had a biryani for lunch the other day. Who does that? I thought it was going to put me to sleep. It was a big lunch. And then for dinner, I went really light. I was so full from the lunch. I just had some fish and that was it. I like carbs at the end of the day. You know, it's like a treat for me. Let's talk about community. Community. So I obviously, with hundreds of clients, we're not going to add them all onto the WhatsApp group. They would kill me. they would exit the WhatsApp group. So what Krish, my assistant, what she's helped create is how many WhatsApp groups are there now? About 12, 13 WhatsApp groups.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And not everybody wants to share share their highs and lows, and some are very quiet. But this group that you're in, it's an active group. And I strategically put clients together, a real mix of them. They can't all be CEOs. They can't all be high-flying execs. It's got to be a mix of senior, high-flying execs. And because I want women to motivate each other. And I want everybody to know that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what our job titles are, we're equal, right? So what you could learn from one person, and I have this thing, it's like a ritual in my chats. So although I'm obsessive about checking in, sometimes I can't check in on the WhatsApp group daily, but that's not what it's there for me to check in daily. It's for the clients to come together and share their highs and lows. But I prompt them once a week. Queens, what are your highs and lows this week? These are my highs. These are my lows. Talk to me. Because I feel like, and this is where the accountability comes in. It's natural part of me. If I don't check in on my clients, I feel like I'm behind my work.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm now running quite a big business. I said, you know what? I checked in everybody's stats Monday morning. I updated all the plans on Monday, but I actually haven't been in these WhatsApp groups. So I'll come in on a Wednesday and say, guys, what are your highs and lows? It's Ramadan squad. Make sure you're staying hydrated. These are your tips. Guys, are you on top of your minerals and supplements? So how does the community group benefit you?
Well, I like the fact that it's not a very big group.
Keep them small.
Yeah, it's really, really important, because otherwise it just becomes too
much noise.
Overwhelming.
Distractions, yeah.
The group is incredibly supportive. And that's interesting because you are the only common denominator in the entire thing. Like, I have no idea who these women are. I don't know what they look like. I don't know where they're based. But I feel like, well, there has to be something that has put us together. So that's the embracing part. But
I like how you come together and support each other, despite not knowing each other.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. So when you ask the thing, what are your highs and lows? Whatever the highs and the lows are, you've always got, that's great, keep it up. You've got hearts and flowers. You've got like, brilliant, wonderful, this is amazing. Share the recipe.
Yeah.
Where have you been? How's the weather? Like, it is really nice. And nice is a bit of a funny word. I think it's community, and that's the important part.
Community spirit, yeah.
And I think that is, like I said, it's just been the bonus of being part of this program, because I like it, works for me.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that it's there.
Yeah.
That it's not intrusive.
Yeah.
And I can be involved if I want, and I can step back if I'm feeling like I want some low key time, and it works.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Right. So as we draw this podcast episode to a close, I want to ask you a few things about Dubai. You spent the longest time living here in Dubai out of all the other places you've lived in. Is this your number one? Is this your favorite place to live? Or is it the others? I'm curious, because I've fallen in love with Dubai since I've been here.
I came to Dubai because my mother was living here.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever my intention.
Yeah.
And
not mine either.
Yeah. I did love it. I fell in love with it. I went through ups and downs with it. I was married here. I had my children here. I was divorced here. I then met my other husband, my second husband, who is the love of my life here. So Dubai holds beautiful sentiment, and I think it's such a great place to live, to raise children, to build communities and friendships.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite place? Probably, but I also have loved the other places that I've lived, but each of them has their own pros and cons.
Yeah.
or ups and downs, highs and lows. And for me, I feel like I'm now at a stage where I can happily take the good and leave what I don't want to take with me.
Yeah.
Wherever I've lived. And this is quite an empowering thing.
Yeah, powerful thing. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, now that you've almost reached the end of your goal on the weight loss transformation, what's next?
Well, that's very easy. What's next is strength.
Yeah.
And well, that is the first thing that's next. And probably at some point in the future to get back into the mindfulness and that work as well.
The mindset coaching.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. A lot of clients have recently signed up to that. It's a new program that I launched 4 or 5 months ago. And it's growing. The community is growing fast. And interestingly, most of those clients have come from my weight loss program because they've transformed their bodies, their health. Now they want to transform the mind, and the goals that come with that are very different. So it's a true end-to-end transformation. Well, when you decide to join, I'm here for you. It's been lovely having you today.
Thank you.
And you're my first client that's been on the podcast.
I'm
such a pleasure.
Oh, it was lovely for me as well. Thank you so much for everything. And looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait. So how long are you in Dubai? When do you head back to the UK? Last question.
Very soon, in a few hours.
Today? Are you flying
tomorrow.
back? Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Transformation Lab DXB podcast, powered by Gym Nation. Remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. Your transformation starts today. See you next time. I'm your host, Nazia Khan.